Well, not only must Simon Cowell's eyes have been affected by the blinding lights during Tom Sandoval's performance on America's Got Talent, but his ears must have been affected as well. You just heard me correctly. During Tom Sandoval's performance of Blinding Lights by The Weeknd on America's Got Talent, Simon Cowell had to put both fingers in his ears while still trying to repeatedly honk his buzzer to get Tom Sandoval to stop singing. Simon Cowell said, "How the fuck am I supposed to honk my buzzer when I need both hands to cover my ears?" But Mel B and Howie Mandel loved it, so Tom is moving on to the quarterfinals. And that's all the America's Got Talent news for the day. My name is Riley Hamilton, and I'm joined by Amy Scarlatta, and this is Turtle Time.
I have to say, this might have been a new low for Tom Sandoval performances. It starts with him on his little trumpet, and he shouldn't say that he plays trumpet. He cannot play.
I know. I think that Pink Panther theme got him really, really hyped up on his own trumpet playing skills. But anything outside of the sort of Pink Panther notes, it kind of makes his thing squeal like a pig.
How has he not improved? He's been playing for so many years, like decades.
Well, part of it is I think a novelty aspect, like when he goes. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of
people like when it goes a little off key.
Okay, can you remind me, because I was just focused on Simon Cowell's face the entire time. What did he do the Blinding Lights intro on the trumpet?
Yeah, I think it was like how does that song start?
I'm blinded by the lights, and I said, "Ooh, I'm blinded by the lights, and I can't."
I don't remember if on the trumpet he did the like do 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 do.
Oh, right. Oh, he probably did that.
But it sounded like shit.
Yeah, well, so here, I'm going to defend Tom Sandoval for a second. Don't.
Shocker.
No, only in this realm of America's Got Talent. He said that when he was playing the trumpet, immediately it blew out his in-ear head buds, the things that control when you can hear your own voice. So he goes, I was flying blind, he said, and I didn't know how the hell I was singing. So he was blowing it left and right. Every single note sounded like shit. And then Simon Cowell was very perceptive. Say what you will about him, but he's perceptive in terms of what he can listen to in his ears. He knew that Tom Sandoval, there was no reason why he was screeching like that. He knew that he saw smoke coming out of that in-ear bud or whatever because it blew out. And then Simon Cowell was the only one that said, "Stop the madness." He buzzed the shit out of it. It's 2 minutes in. Everybody watch this clip. Simon Cowell goes, enough, and he bangs on the buzzer to try to get it to stop. And then Mel B and Howie Mandel, they don't have the ear of Simon Cowell. Say what you will about them, but they don't have Cowell's ear, and they let him just go on with the whole performance. They were complimentary.
Mel B was like, say what you want, but he's fun.
Yes, I know. Yeah, it's amazing. So, not a lot of people are probably following this journey of Tom Sandoval on America's.
I couldn't believe it was still happening.
Yeah, we're not that tapped in, but I just wanted you all to know, as Turtle Time listeners, this is what's going on for Tom Sandoval personally. He blew it with Simon Cowell, but I think he's still going to get one more shot because they know that those in-ear headphones kind of blew up during his performance.
Yeah, Howie said that you're good people and you're having a good time, and that's all that matters. That's what this show is about. And I was like, is it?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it's about. I still don't know what Simon Cowell is doing on this show. I keep saying to myself, you're on that other show. You know what I'm talking about? American Idol? Wasn't he on that?
It's been a while.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry. Well, that's just that's just my 2 cents about it. But anyway, say what you will about Tom Sandoval, but, you could argue that there was a subjective experience going into him singing that song by The Weeknd. Mel B, Howie liked it. Simon didn't, but enough runway for him to keep going. Anything else you want to say about this? I mean, you liked the video, right?
Oh, yeah. Tom is like, he's still dressed to the nines. I saw that his girlfriend and Schwartz and Kyle Chan and his dad were in the audience. So he has a lot of support.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. It's kind of funny because there were a bunch of lights or whatever, because the song is called that, blinding lights or whatever. And for the first 5 seconds or so, you can see that Tom Sandoval was affected by the lights or whatever. He kind of closes his eyes and he winces for the first 5 to 10 seconds. It's kind of a pure shit, performance. The lights are affecting him. His monitors blew out in his ears, and then that trumpet squealing was horrible. So not a good start.
Do they get paid? Like, I feel like you get paid to show up like a little bit, but then you're just fighting for the prize. But again, his band is so big that it's just like, even if they won, they would get like $1.
Right. This is a passion project for those boys, Max and everybody else. Or I forget who his drummers, I think his name is Max. But yeah, they're not going home with a big, huge bucket filled with cash. He's splitting it 9 ways. But still, it's about the prestige of getting to the very end. And Simon Cowell, despite how he seemed, he still has hope for Tom that he might make it to the end of this thing. So we'll see.
Stunning to watch.
I agree. And then after that, I gotta say, can I just, Amy, do you care if I'm honest with Turtle Time listeners?
Week after week, we keep saying we have nothing to talk about.
I think that, Turtle Time, eventually we're going to have to give up the news section until one of these Bravo celebrities starts making news. I mean, you should see what's on the docket here today. It's horrible. I texted Amy right before. I go, Paige on Devil Wears Prada 2, ? And I guess we should talk about that.
Yeah. I almost like ignored it when I saw it, because there were like 2 straight weeks where Twitter was just doing joke, like, so-and-so spotted on the set of Devil Wears Prada 2. Like, it would just be like anyone you could think of as like a bit.
Really?
And but then I saw the person that posted about Paige. It was like page 6 or whatever. So I was like, oh, it's real. And I'm just like, this movie's getting spoiled like a year in advance. Like, I don't want to see the fashions. I don't want to see the cameos. I just want to go watch it and it'll be fun.
Oh, I agree with you. I've been getting spoilers left and right. Is there any, well, I don't know. It's probably just, it's hitting every probably social media channel. You just can't avoid this thing. But any thoughts? I kind of forget the Devil Wears Prada enough to be like, where does Paige fit in? Is she possibly going to be walking down the street and say, that's a huge fashion whiff?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll be like a fashion show that they're gonna pack with influencers. I don't know. I skimmed it because I was like, I'm sick of this shit.
Right. Yeah. So you didn't even want to indulge in this sort of hypothetical. I was wondering if she said one line that was sort of Bravo bait for us that would have us kind of cackling in the theaters.
Yeah.
It'd be something like, you don't look like you just rolled out of bed. Which is something that I enjoy doing. Like, you're wearing something so cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like you just rolled out of my favorite place, which is bed.
Right.
Something, or could you imagine? You could imagine something like that, sort of Bravo red meat for us to start clapping in the theater.
I just realized, wait, Project Runway is back, but what is it on?
Oh, I have thought of another one while you look up that. I already have plans for the summer. She would say, and then we would be, as Bravo fans, we'd be like, wait, no, Paige isn't on Summer House. But it would be like Easter egg, because people would know, oh, I know what they're alluding to in theory, that she used to have a place to go in the summer. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So anyway, well, I think people are sort of a buzz because this thing came out 4 days ago or 5 days ago when you listen to this, and they're wondering how Paige DeSorbo is going to fit into the fabric of the sort of entrenched Devil Wears Prada canon. And I agree. It's probably going to be very fashion related, and it's probably going to be one of those. Did you ever see Anchorman 2?
I'm sure I did.
It was kind of like this. It was like on the street, Ron Burgundy was walking down the street and he was like, milk was a bad choice again. And then all of a sudden across the street, Drake from the 80s would say, looking good, Ron Burgundy. And then Kanye West, say what you will. But he also had a cameo back then before he was, presumably canceled. And he was also like, Ron Burgundy, my name's Kanye West. And maybe they're just going to be those sort of like really on the nose cameos, sort of like Anchorman 2. Do you think that that's at all possible?
I could see that. Sometimes like when I'm doing Cinematrix and stuff, I try and think of little cameos like that. Like Like I feel like Pop Star Never Stop Stopping has a lot of like random people in it, or like sometimes playing themselves, like stuff like that. But yeah, I was distracted trying to think of Project Runway because I was like, Paige would be a great guest, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
unfortunate that it's not on. I don't think it's on Bravo anymore. I think it's on Hulu.
Oh yeah, they would want that kind of essential tie-in, but now that the Bravo reign is sort of loose on Paige, she might do a bunch of different shit that you can never even imagine. Hulu,
That's true.
pop in there, join Stassi's empire on Hulu,
with
give
her
advice.
Show that will never come.
That there's apparently a show that Stassi filmed 2 years ago that we're gonna see at some point. Something must be going well. We don't have to talk about that, but something must be wrong there.
I mean, as we've discussed, Hulu is really up in the air right now. Like it's getting folded into Disney Plus, I think, officially.
You were right. This is like all of a sudden Turtle Time is kind of like The Town with Matthew Bellany. You reported on that early. You were like, I think Hulu's going to be dead in a dustbin. And I read that just a week ago. They're like, Disney Plus is going to be the only thing now that has Hulu content. There's not even going to be the Hulu app anymore.
Isn't it so crazy the way that they just over the years are like completely dumping like billion-dollar brands? Like Showtime just doesn't exist anymore, and it was like its own entity completely.
I think about that all the time. I say, what happened to that? And so yeah, there's a lot of stuff changing sort of entertainment wise. I'll be the first to say it. But speaking of perfect synergy, like Hulu between Disney Plus, have you heard this news about this new podcast that Hilaria Baldwin is starting with her daughter Carmen Baldwin? It's called Growing Up Together.
I'm concerned.
Well, I'm only concerned because Hilaria and Carmen, if you watch the Baldwin season 1, there was something a little odd about Hilaria and Carmen's sort of, I would say Hilaria's relationship with Carmen, where she sort of treated her like her ride or die confidant. Like when Carmen would go have a friend come over that was also 10 years old and get their nails done, Hilaria would sort of get in the middle of it and be like, I want my nails done by you too. And there was sort of this, like, I felt like she was putting a lot on Carmen as not her daughter but her best friend, and then now it seems like this is going to be the epitome of that sort of dynamic. It's like, you're my co-host, my 11-year-old daughter, and we're going to talk about pop culture and what the hell else are they going to talk
she's
about?
putting her to work. I feel like she treated her as if it was like her 20-year-old daughter from her first marriage or something, to be like, I have all these little rugrats running around, but you and me are here together. And it's like, she's literally like a child.
I think 11. But despite like what it reinforces and what it says about Hilaria and Carmen and their kind of dynamic that it was interesting to watch, I still love both Hilaria and Carmen. I mean, I love the Baldwins in general. I don't love them. I just mean that I'm not saying like this is dog shit, I'm never going to listen to it. It's more of a curiosity to be like, how are you going to be co-host? You want to be a co-host with your 11-year-old daughter? Are you setting her up to be sort of like, the next generation of you and launching her empire already at this age? But regardless of all of that sort of negative talk, I think that they have a fun camaraderie, and I love everything about the Baldwins. My love of Hilaria has even deepened since the Baldwin season 1. You remember when we played those videos of them doing that baby viral video? I think, was that a week ago?
Yes. I watched a random ass movie, and Alec Baldwin was in it. It was that piece of shit Cameron Crowe movie, Elizabethtown, from 2005.
God. When he started to blow it big time, right? Cameron Crowe had the wind at his back, and he was flowing. He was, you could call him a sort of Icarus level figure. He was really going for it, and then Elizabethtown came in, and everyone declared it a turkey.
Kerslunk. It was like, okay, but can I say this? I posted on Instagram already, but I have this working, it's not even a theory, it's just like a curiosity. And I think I've brought it up here before, that there are so many movies where the lead character makes their living, a good living, off of selling sneakers.
Oh.
Right?
I saw that.
I always think of Jumanji. His dad owns a sneaker factory. Father of the Bride, they live in that beautiful house. He owns sneaker brand. I just watched The Big Chill. Kevin Kline is about to make like a shit ton of money because he's selling his sneaker company. And then I randomly put on Elizabethtown, and the movie opens, and Orlando Bloom works at like a, they don't call it Nike, but it's like basically Nike. And Alec Baldwin is like the CEO, and his life is destroyed because he designed such a fugly sneaker that he lost the company $1 billion, and he becomes suicidal.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what are the odds that I put on a sneaker movie?
People were having sneaker fever from 1990 until 2005 because Nike was the biggest thing in the world. And so when writers were coming up with stuff, they were like, what about the sneaker phenomenon? I have to say, if the first thing you're writing about someone who's disgraced at a sneaker factory, the first idea that comes to your head is they created a sneaker that was so shitty that it lost a lot of money. Like, Cameron Crowe wasn't really, I don't know, being very revolutionary with that idea, I have to say. Well, I think that's I think that's an amazing launching point for us to continue to talk about more stuff. But I was trying to come up with that because you posited that question to the world.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I went into a sneaker frenzy. I said, what movie? I feel like there's so many movies about sneakers. I think you hit the nail on the head. I only kept thinking about Back to the Future because there's such a revolutionary sneaker in that. But it has nothing to do with a business.
Yeah.
But you could tell that Robert Zemeckis had sneaker fever when he was thinking of sneakers in the future of part 2.
I think there's like a subgenre. I got a lot of recommendations of like things that like the plot, like something with sneakers is pertinent in the plot, but I specifically like the idea of getting rich off of selling sneakers.
Me too. No, I like it too. It's a really great idea. You listed about 6 of them. You listed some great ones. That movie Air is obvious about sneakers, but if you can think of any other movies that we didn't mention that revolve completely around a sneaker empire or someone creating sneakers, let us know. And then, do you care if I transition away from that?
Please. Sneak away.
Do you mind if I sneak away from this sneaker discussion? The last thing I'll say, well, first, actually 2 things, and then we've got to get out of this news segment. Well, first of all, there was a little whispers. Reality T reared its head. Reality T, the website, and I'm only talking about Reality T as a prestigious outlet because they're referenced multiple times on the episode of OC that we're going to watch. But they wrote an article saying, is Alli Luber going to be joining the cast of Southern Hospitality? And I have a one-word answer to that. No.
Yeah, she's not going over there.
It was only written. It's such clickbait, and thank God Turtle Time doesn't indulge in this kind of shit. It was just because Alli Luber reared her head at a wonderful emo night hosted party for Joe Bradley in the Southern Hospitality universe. So Joe Bradley is turning 30 years old. Emo night did the full party for him. He had an emo night, and he even did his hair and his eyes and his entire clothes were adopting the emo aesthetic. So he did this full emo night thing, and Alli Luber, I think, just happened to be there, or she knows somebody, and then Reality T, this better not be the credible journalist that they're referencing in the OC, but said,
maybe.
They said, is Alli Luber, joining a Southern Hospitality? And I was like, is that all it takes to get the world
in the same place
into a frenzy? So I say absolutely not. Alli, better luck next time. You're not joining the Southern Hospitality cast. You just went to emo night with Joe Bradley, and that was it.
That make you like Joe Bradley more?
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean, I'm the biggest proponent of emo night, and I love them the most of anyone in the world. So that was the coolest thing that he could have ever done. And if I was just turning 30, I wish to God that I would have had that kind of a party. I would have done exactly what Joe Bradley did.
Yeah. I was thinking came across Alli's Instagram at one point, and I was like, it feels like she gained enough traction to do something else. Like, I don't know where she will slot in, but I think people would like to see her somewhere.
I felt I don't want to get too rude.
Please do.
No. I just think that it's not her fault at all. I think the runway for takeoff was just cut a little short. A certain Bravo celebrity could have popped up in the universe and created a launch pad, like maybe Sally on Southern Hospitality is an example of someone who used a little and really ran with them. Talk about Icarus flying towards the sun. Alli Luber, I think with the James dynamic, that sullied things, and there was too many passions that were being indulged. Mm-hmm. We were indulged with music. We were indulged with astrology. I think we're indulged with now a podcast about astrology.
Right.
So I think it was too many disparate passions, and no one really got to know Alli enough to be like, oh, I'm ride or die for Alli for the rest of her career. I feel like it's nice for Sheena and stuff to still be like, come on the podcast, Alli, or I'll go on your podcast. Like, people are really trying. They're being helpful to continue Alli. But unfortunately, the whole James stuff and how that ended, I think it kind of messed up whatever she was trying to do post her Bravo world.
Yeah, maybe I just have a special affinity since she read my fortune or whatever you call it.
Yeah, and I can't negate that in any way. That was a beautiful thing that you had with Alli, and I'll never forget when we talked about that.
I got in under the wire. It was like $50.
That was, I wish I would have done it. I don't know what I was doing. And she ended up, remember, I'll remind everyone, she said a huge dump truck of cash is going to be dumped on your doorstep in the next 6 months. And it was, which is like, does that prediction get any better? Right?
Yeah, she did not know that I had a family member who died. I did not tell her that. And I did get a little something from that. And she knew that. Right. Like, to the T.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, you know, and that was all using basically astrology, different metrics of time of birth and where you were born. And
that shit is so crazy.
Yeah, I'm now, because I got to say this. I'll say this. Penny's first birthday is coming right around the corner, and I need to start paying attention to specifically what this astrology season is like and what it's going to do for the future of her life. You know, what it's like as this kind of, in this time of year or whatever. It's hot as hell. I'll say that. I don't know if that has anything to do with astrology.
She bring this devil sun. Did you continue watching it just like that?
No, oh my God. No, but I actually was going to ask you, because I heard that it was divisive, the finale, but I haven't watched it yet.
I don't know about divisive. I think everyone agreed.
Oh, really? Okay. Can you please, in not the most spoiler world, but in with 30 seconds for people who don't want and just like that spoiled, can you just tell me what was the most horrendous aspect of it? And you don't even have to spoil. Just tell me what was wrong, and then I will watch it someday.
Okay. Well, so a couple episodes back, they say that Brady, Miranda's son, has knocked a girl up that he like doesn't even know, like just a random girl. And Miranda like spies on her because she wants to like find out who she is and like get involved. And so she like goes to this hair salon where she works and talks to her. And she's like the worst character you've ever heard of. Like, she's just like a moron. And like the people that write the show like hate anyone under 30. And hate, like, they think everyone is, like, LGBT or, like, it's, like, as if a Republican wrote it, it's, like, offensive, even though they're trying to be inclusive. It's, like, more offensive than, like, if it was just, like, conservative. But she's, like, this horrible pregnant woman who makes no sense. And at one point she goes, I was going to get an abortion, but it's going to be a triple Libra. And so I was like, that's fire.
Whoa! Oh my God! You know, Michael Patrick King tilted his head back and roared with laughter when someone came up with that in the writers' room. Oh my God!
Apparently, that like doesn't make sense for the timeline because it's like Thanksgiving on the episode where she's pregnant, which like meant that the baby would have already been born. So
I mean, that's the least of Michael Patrick King's worries on that one.
And then Miranda invites her to Thanksgiving. She brings two of her queer friends. One of them is named Epcot.
Is that supposed to be sort of a slight on kind of odd names?
They're like, my parents were Disney freaks.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then the pregnant girl is like, I only eat seaweed and cucumbers, and is like really annoying. And then Epcot is like, I'm allergic to cheese, but then eats the cheese and proceeds to take a shit like throughout the night. And then at the end, like, this is like the last 15 minutes of the show, Victor Garber, the esteemed actor, like Tony-winning, like good actor, goes to take a piss after everyone has left. They show him pissing. Like, they show the piss stream. He flushes, and they show like 30 logs come out of the pool. I gagged. Like, I physically gagged. I haven't gagged since like The Substance. Like, it was so disgusting, and like just shit keeps coming out of the toilet, and it's so foul.
Someone needs to check on Michael Patrick King and make sure that he's okay. I think he wrote this in a room by himself and no one has heard
He's
from
the
him.
Joker.
This is the second to last episode. This isn't
This
even
was the finale.
This was the finale?
That was in like the last 15 minutes of the entire series.
What? Oh my God.
And by the way, I was talking with my friend who made a good point. I had just watched The Comeback, so it's fresh of mind. The Comeback finale has a shit overflow. Remember she's going to the Emmys and her her garage overflows with shit and Brad Goreski slips in the shit and like falls in it.
Oh my God. So that was another finale where Michael Patrick King wanted to have an overflow of shit impact the main events of the plot. Well, okay. I mean, obviously
also, the poops, sorry, I hate it, so disgusting, are like, he said, like silicone prop duties. And I'm like, why did someone eat cheese and then take solid logs if they're allergic to cheese?
Only on this show would you even have to question that type of, what's that called?
Shit logic.
And then, so is it true? Okay, I'll ask one follow-up question, and then we need to move forward, I think. What was it well, it's the finale. It's the series finale.
Yes. There's no way they do.
So, okay. So they lied. Sarah Jessica Parker.
It's not even final enough to be a season finale, let alone a series finale.
Okay, so they lied about that aspect. They said they did the fake thing, which now you know that everybody fakes this when they say it. We just got to the logical end point and we felt like it was perfect, so we denied the next season because we just got to a perfect place with our
fucking
cast.
Way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna still watch it.
You should. I'm gonna miss it, frankly, because it was such a joy to talk to be outraged with everyone about it, because it always zigzagged in ways you could never imagine.
Sarah Jessica Parker probably said, I'm not doing this one more minute. What'd you have Victor Garber do? You're showing the pee stream and then poop comes out. I'm done. I'm done. Enough. End it now. I thought this was going to be like Sex in the City. Instead, it's about poop and whatever Meredith was doing. All right. Well, whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Nightmare from Hell.
Holy shit. All right. Well, let's say goodbye to that. Let's close the chapter on it and just like that and open the chapter on this next. We're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of OC. And do you want to talk about the programming note a little bit?
Yes. The way that things shook out this week, we're probably just doing Orange County and saving Miami for next week. So bear with us. We'll combine it next week, but we'll let you know.
Mick B hit us like a big tractor truck, and now everything is post Mick B, and now Miami. So hopefully Miami doesn't have the most dynamite episode in the world, and me and Amy are like bummed out. But for now, OC, and then we'll figure out how to tack on Miami somewhere else. Don't get discouraged. We're going to talk about that Miami episode. Don't worry.
But here, like clockwork, is Orange County. The truth will set you free.
Yeah.
Which,
the truth.
Okay, this one, again, I feel like I'm in like cuckoo land because I feel like I'm being like toyed with.
Yeah.
Like the way that they release unseen footage that they very well could have shown us last week. I was like so pissed.
Yeah, like, why don't we have all of the information up front to make our determination of what's going on? And then we get in this little drips of new revelations that have already happened. Just like you said, where Gretchen has said, Gretchen said, the hospital comes into play now. And it's like, oh my God. So here's what I'll say. Despite that being confused and it being about bloggers, and then now we're calling Kiki and getting her involved, I still do not like that this is rising now to a 3-episode arc or a 4-episode arc. But I completely did. I did a 180 from last week. I was wrong again. I am always wrong. If I make a big emphatic prediction, 90% of the time I will be wrong. And I was steadfast that this shit did not happen, and in no way was it like this. And it sounds like now, with all of the new information I gleaned, whether or not they parsed it properly or gave us it at the right time, this happened.
Right.
Gretchen and Slade went to Maestro's.
Yeah.
They've been telling the same story for 10 years post-OC. They have the same story that they've been telling to every single person who will listen since Naked Wasted. That's the impression I gathered. They said, guess what? We've got a revelation about Naked Wasted that anyone will love, whether it's Jen Pedranti, Katie Janelli, Matt. We probably have told this story to Alexis Bellino. It's like all of the figures in the OC universe have probably heard this new version of Naked Wasted, which is that Gretchen was so fucking sick after she was drunk as a skunk at Naked Wasted that she pondered the idea that she was roofied by Tamra, and she said, I went to the hospital the next day because I felt like I was roofied. Now, the only question for me, so then Katie Janelli definitely heard that story at Maestro's, and Katie Janelli definitely whispered that in Kiki's ear at this Breakfast with Kiki and said, guess what Gretchen's talking about? You gotta get this thing on Sirius XM radio with Dorinda, because this is a huge scandal and you'll be at the forefront of journalism. You'll win the equivalent of the Bravo Pulitzer if you lay this one out. Now it has gone from Tamra being the liar to now figuring out where is Gretchen lying in this story. And Katie is definitely lying in the story, because now I know that Katie did this once she had that information.
Like, once it turned out that the fact itself was true or had any merit, then it's like, well, then if Kiki knows it, then, and you went to lunch with her, then who else told her?
It's an open and shut case, Your Honor. I don't know how else to say it. This happened. Now I'm wondering, which we'll learn as we go through. We don't have to do a fine-tooth comb on this episode. This is the major dramatic moment of the entire thing. But it's whether or not Gretchen actually told Katie that she went to the hospital, which I don't think she did. I think she put a fun emphasis on her story while she was drunk at Maestro's and said, and guess what? I went to the hospital next day because I felt so sick. So I do think that story was relayed verbatim to Matt and Katie. But now it's still, but then Katie and Matt are trying to diffuse the situation and obfuscate it by saying that, well, it's all their problem now. This isn't our story to tell. But it's like, oh, no, I'm sorry, no. It still matters that you told Kiki Monique about this. That's the major part of it still that we need to reckon with. And that's bad that you told Kiki about it.
No, it was like so crazy because it just kept unfolding where she's like, there's no denying what I heard or like what we heard. And so that means her and Matt and Jen and Ryan all heard the same story. And so now she's like, well, now Jen is pretending that she didn't hear that story and just like completely acting like it's out of left field.
Right.
Which I'm like, well, maybe she's playing ball better than you.
Yeah, she's playing ball over there. She's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, this Maestro's event. Well, I watched it. My parents are in town, so I watched this episode with them, and then I said, let's watch Naked Wasted together.
Oh,
so we put
cool.
the final half of Naked Wasted on, and I have to say, I mean, Gretchen has denied that she said she was roofied, and she would never make that allegation now. She purposefully, I think, put a twist, an emphasis on her story at that dinner. She does not believe she was roofied. But I have to say, from watching Naked Wasted again, there was enough alcohol present that Gretchen consumed to justify her being as drunk as she was. She was a 10 out of 10 drunk, but she does shots. They're eating tequila gooseberries and tequila strawberries. Like, she's drunk as hell. And also Ryan. The worst part of Naked Wasted is still what it is, which is that Ryan, like a hyena on the prowl, notices that Gretchen is a 9 out of 10 drunk and thinks this is his opportunity to try to get her to make out with him or have sex with him when he knows she has a dying fiance in the hospital. So Ryan is still despicable, a despicable, awful, evil person. One of the worst people that Bravo has ever shined a light on.
Housewife child ever?
So he has the legacy of OC children being the worst children in the universe. All of the original OC are the baddest kids I've ever seen in my life. Ryan is still, bar none, what he has done. It was just despicable. He pulls his chair over to get next to Gretchen and like is trying to rub her back, and just it's the exact thing you would imagine of someone trying to take advantage of someone while they were drunk. A predator. It's horrible, but I do not think that Gretchen just wanted to make this story slightly salacious while she was at Maestro's holding court, but she was definitely drunk enough from what she consumed to be sick as a dog the next day. So the roofie part is in contention.
Sure. But they do have a moment, a flashback where Tamra's like, did you or did you not say that you went to the hospital? And she's like, she sort of whispers it like she thinks that it won't air. And she's like, I did go to the hospital, but it was because I was so sick.
Right. But then, okay. So then it makes you weigh, what do I believe? Because then they show the confessional and Gretchen goes, I did not go to the hospital, but I felt like I should have. So I'm like, the confessional is usually the time where you've wrapped your head around things and you want to be honest and you know where the story is going to go. So you usually put the definitive stance on it. But I also, you're right. I mean, you could add credibility to her whispering and not wanting it on camera that she did go to the hospital.
Yeah.
But
I feel like they framed this wrong because I'm like, it's interesting if both Gretchen and Katie are lying. You know what I mean? Like if that's why you're like, what is happening? Because Gretchen potentially said something that wasn't true or told people different versions, and Katie told someone but lied about it.
You know when you're holding court at Maestro's and everyone's got their ears towards you and you're telling a ripper of a story and you've got everybody sort of in the palm of your hands and you say, and then I had to go to the hospital because I thought I was, there had to be some other reason why I was so drunk. I think it's quite possible that in the telling of this story, that exact detail got released from Gretchen's mouth. And then now that it's on camera 3 years later or whenever this was told, she is trying to specifically say, because the roofie accusation against Tamra is so defamatory, that I do think that Slade and her are trying to say, you don't know what it's like when we hold court at Maestro's. We say a lot of stuff. Now, Katie, I don't know why the hell you would ever repeat that to Kiki Monique, but that story is not true. We added a little extra detail to that.
Sure. But Katie says that what she heard clear as day was that she was so sick the next day that she went to the hospital. They did a toxicology report and found drugs in her system. And I'm like, do you think she pulled that out of thin air?
Yeah, it's really whether you, how you, we're
who
really
believe.
It's who you believe in. Now I'm like, Katie, I never again I believe you're telling the truth about anything. I believed you again after 5 lies. And then now this is the 6th lie that you've been busted in. Without a shadow of a doubt, you told Kiki this story. I know it for a fact. So I don't know where my impulse, and I hope it's not too inflammatory or whatever, but my instinct is that Gretchen and Slade added extra to this, and they did not think that they had a blogger in waiting that was sitting there who was ready to report this shit immediately the minute she got her hands on it. They didn't know Katie. They didn't know that Katie is run into the bloggers with absolutely everything in the world. And so that's why I think that because really, if Slade and Gretchen went to the hospital, got a toxicology report, found that there were drugs in their system, they had so much acrimony with Tamra for the last 10 years, that is something that would have gotten them to be talking about it for a really long time. And there's nothing awful about them telling the truth about Naked Wasted and adding that true fact to it. I just think that they would have talked about that. Mm-hmm. It's completely, it gives so much credibility to Gretchen's, not credibility, but it shows that Gretchen was not in her full right mind and they were taking advantage of her. And she hated Tamra at that point. So why not release that story, anytime you want it? It doesn't make you look bad. It means you were a victim, in that circumstance.
Unless she also did drugs and then didn't want to make a whole headline about how there were drugs in her system.
Oh my God, you're making me I'm like, are we Woodward and Bernstein? And I'm like Bernstein and you're like, come on, go deeper, Bernstein. I'm Woodward.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Because that moment when Katie she leans into the producer and she goes, am I protecting Jen or am I telling the truth? Right. And they're like, tell the truth and we'll take it from there. And she's like, all right, well, this is what she said.
I liked that.
So I'm like, it's interesting when people are like, they revealed, which probably happens in almost every interview session where they go, should I frame it like this or should I frame it like this? And they revealed her being like, which version do you want? Which is kind of interesting. Like, I feel like they don't usually ever show something like that, which must happen all the time, where they're like, do you want me to like make Tamra look like shit, or do you want, like, what version of are you looking for?
It's hard for me to believe Katie about that aspect of this when I know she's lying her ass off about the Kiki Monique stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think you're right. I mean, it might be even more nuanced than I can imagine. And there's tons of reasons why Slade and Gretchen wouldn't want to say, yeah, they found a big brick of coke in your system when you went to the hospital, allegedly. So maybe that's why we don't say this, because that says that Gretchen was on drugs. And again, we're piecing this together as we go, and they've been adding little facts to make the story, have more clarity. So maybe when Kiki Monique sits down next week, which we are going to see, she'll give some detail that's just going to blow all this, blow this whole thing up. And our theories are completely moot because we don't have all of the information. This is just us speculating, right now.
I forgot in the preview, they have Kiki Monique trotted out to do a sit down, which I'm like, has that ever happened before?
Well, I think, Jeff Lewis was going to do something like this. I mean, I'm sure he would be appalled to be referred to as a blogger, but they have done this. Up and Adam had to be called on Salt Lake City. That's my low bar for bloggers in this system, is when Up and Adam said, I got to be a part of the Salt Lake City thing because he lied his ass off. So honestly, this blogger gate is a little better because this new added element of Gretchen possibly lying when I didn't think she would lie ever, that makes there more mystery here. And I think hopefully Kiki kind of just makes the official stance, and then Katie is just labeled a blogger whisperer for the rest of her run. And if Katie ever wants to have a future on this show, I would say media blackout. You can't talk to anyone ever again. You shouldn't even do virtual reality interviews, because you have really kind of hindered your run on this show by being so open and having so much blogger talks, affecting your run.
I love how, again, they were like on the spot saying, Katie, call Kiki right now. Just like get out your phone and call her right now. And she's like, no.
She goes, that would be, really bad. What if she lied? And then Jen is like, oh my God, Jen's got one foot out the door on Katie. She's like, why won't she just defend herself? Like, I have no clue what's going on over there. And then remember when Katie even tried to throw Jen under the bus to be like, Jen is here for all of these conversations. She knows everything. And then at the end, Katie, I don't even know if we have to talk about the episode because this is the main thing, but Katie immediately again tries to throw Jen under the bus. She was like, she was at Maestro's. Why isn't she making a big deal about this? Like you said. And it's like, well, because she doesn't want anything to fucking do with this. And she didn't tell Kiki Monique about this. She's not releasing shit to bloggers. Right. So she doesn't have to account for this at all.
I love that they had a selfie as evidence of going to Maestro's. Matt was like, let's take a group photo.
You definitely know they went to Maestro's that night. I think there's clear evidence that they did. All 6 of them are in there. All right, let's rip through this with not what's the opposite of a fine-tooth comb? A big, shitty foam hand?
We'll graze through.
Yeah.
So they're still in New Orleans. Tamra fucked off at 4 a.m. Eddie got her a flight first thing. Shannon says, which I think we evoked last week, that this reminds her of Tamra in Bali when she said, "You'll never see me again," and ran down the hallway, which I love that gif of her just sprinting barefoot down the hallway.
That, I said I grasped for Tamra iconic moments. That hit me hard watching it with my family.
Like,
"You'll never see me again," and then running your ass off barefoot away is one of the funniest visual images that I've ever received. It really struck a chord with me. I am proud of her for that.
And Shannon goes, and we saw her right after, which we do on this episode as well.
Right, which is great. And we have to say, I'm going to add some, context from the episode, but Tamra does admit that she snorted half a Xanny. She says half a Xanny. I had to say allegedly.
She's petite.
Well, she clarifies. It was half a Xanny. She goes, no, not a full Xanny for me. I'm going to have 2 drinks and snort one half of a Xanny bar to get the effects quicker. So I was glad that she rationalized this out-of-body experience she had at the table when she was getting her ass handed to her left and right, and she just bailed completely on this.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the episode, she is providing cover for it wasn't just the half Zanny. It was also that I was being gaslit, that I started to remember what Gretchen said and how actory Gretchen seemed when I levied the accusations against her that she said she went to the hospital. And then when you watch the footage, Gretchen does go, "Dear me, God, no, that couldn't be true. Hospital," she said. And I was like, oh my God, wow, with this new context, it does seem kind of fake.
Yeah, totally.
How Gretchen was reacting to it.
She's on the watch list. By the way, I did watch Gaslight, and it is just as you think. It really clarifies what that means.
Oh my God, how long is this person gaslighting? I'll just use the term, gaslighting his significant other.
It's not that long. I think it's like maybe a few months. He keeps being like convincing her that she's like sick and insane, and that like he'll say like, "I'm putting this expensive thing in your purse," and then but he didn't really put it in there. So then she's like, "I lost it, fuck." And he's like, "What's up with you? You keep fucking losing everything. Like, you're like, something's wrong." And he keeps just like just confusing the shit out of her the whole time.
Oh my God. Wow. That's kind of like my favorite movie, Bug.
We need a bug counter.
2.
Ding.
Does it ends with her screaming to the heavens, "I'm being gaslit," right?
I know. I was like, this is so like, it's shocking to watch now, because now if she talked to anyone, they'd be like, "He's a narcissist, girl."
Yeah, you're being gaslit by him. Is gaslit? Did he say, "Honey, you left the gas on, my darling"?
He keeps tampering with the lights. Like, he's sneaking around in the house because, spoiler, he's looking for treasure. Like, he's using her to get to some jewels.
Say no more. It's got treasure hunt in it.
The way that the old gas lights work would be like, if you turned them on in one room, they would go down in another. And so she was tripping out thinking that like she was home alone, but the lights were changing. And so like when he was sneaking around, the lights kept changing and she would hear steps and she was so scared.
What's he getting out of being a gaslighter, as I like to call him?
I think it just like keeps her from asking questions, and he can like sort of like do whatever he wants and like keep her from socializing and like discovering anything.
Could you imagine if it was written during the TV era and he took the remote upstairs and he kept turning on like Howdy Doody and he said, "Honey, why do you keep turning on the TV?" And she's like, "I'm not." And he's laughing his ass off because he's got the remote up there.
Yeah.
Nothing like that happens, right?
Yeah, he has like a smart plug. He keeps turning shit on.
Let's in addition to, once we become Hollywood roundabouts or whatever, Hollywood power players, let's do the funny Ingrid Goes West version of hipster, whatever you call it, hipster comedy.
Update.
Yeah, Gaslight 2027, and it's kind of silly. It's got
it's like hijinks.
Yeah. And it's like, I think people go to the theaters just because there's a new movie called Gaslit. But then they're like, well, that's lame. We're over that term. But it's like, no, this is a reboot.
We're bringing it back.
Oh, my God. We have so many ways to make money.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's. What?
So,
Gator
Shannon.
Boat? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Shannon. Yeah, you're right.
Shannon's late as hell to the gator boat because apparently she had a panic attack. She called Gina like sobbing, like, "I'm trying to get there." And she not to be rude, like she says that she's been having panic attacks since her DUI because like her life was like flipped upside down.
It was kind of, I don't want to say, it wasn't funny at all, but it was just interesting to be like, I thought Tamra was calling her crying because she had this like wild event happen to her and she left the show, but it's just, no, Shannon's just there. She's been on the trip and she's sobbing. Incoherent sobbing, they define it as, because she is really, really upset and can't get to this gator boat for the life of her.
I feel like we got a glimpse of like the quote, like difficult Shannon.
Yeah.
You know, like she was late and she was like, "Can someone get my jacket?" And she's like, "Sorry." And everyone's like so pissed.
I'll just say this, just like how I think you and I could have produced Firefest better than Seth MacFarlane, I could deal with Shannon on set. I would be the perfect producer. I would be like, yeah, Shannon's really spinning around in circles up there, but let's just give her 10 minutes and, she just needs to do her lashes. I wouldn't be like Joel Kim Booster and being like, she's a nightmare, even though maybe she was, but I would just be like, I get it.
You could be really her upset. Little like AD, like, "We're ready for you on set."
Oh my God, I would love that. Oh my God. Oh, If I could be the second AD and just deal with Shannon, she'd be having the time of her life. Don't get me started on that. Okay, and then this is when. Well, sorry. We want to talk about? I mean, Gator Boat was.
We've been there, done this.
They saw two little gators.
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It's like derivative. We've done that shit before.
Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah. Also, sorry, but the Emily's son, I feel like we can skip that stuff. She's still upset that her son has an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Her and Shane are sort of at odds about how to handle it because Shane's too even keel about it.
Yeah. Megan told my parents, she goes, Riley's favorite house husband is Shane Simpson. And then we watched this scene and they were like, huh?
He's like, why are you crying, bitch?
He's so awful. He goes, why don't you know how upsetting you are to everyone or something? It's like there was no redeemable merit to Shane in that scene at all, except that he thinks that Emily is overreacting to the ARFID stuff. He just will not take it, as seriously as she wants to. And like, I don't know, in that moment, you just have to like defer to Emily. This is really hurting her to see her son only eat yellow French fries and yellow foods and stuff. And he's just like, yeah, he'll get over it. Tough love. Just bring the McDonald's fries in the car. It's like, well, this is something that anyway, that's all I'll say about that scene. I
saw a TikTok of a dad with an autistic son who will only eat Wendy's chicken nuggets, and right now they have Wednesday themed packaging, like black and white stripes, and so the kid is like, what the fuck is that? I'm not eating that. Like, and he's like, please bring back the regular Wendy's packaging, because he is like scared of the the Wednesday box.
Dave Thomas can't just put not black dye on some of the chicken nuggets on for the Wednesday meal.
So I thought of Emily there.
Oh, yeah. So that I really, even though it's like we say, this is not the dramatic crux of this episode or whatever. It's still very interesting for me to see a parent deal with this and their husband like that. All that stuff is like, there are parents watching this who are like, oh my God, I am so glad this is represented on television. But you and I are skipping through like a boat on a gator bayou.
Yes.
All right, Tamra therapy.
Oh yeah. Well, are we skipping the Bourbon House?
Bourbon House.
Well, I only say that because Gina barfs up an oyster at the table.
What the hell am I doing? I'm sorry. I went from Bayou and I skipped Bourbon. No, Bourbon House was iconic. Heather goes, can I get those famous oysters that you all serve up here, bourbon infused oysters? And then what I liked was Heather downs a bunch of oysters.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's doing like 6 in a row. And then she goes, these are lovely. And then Emily goes, which is Emily's want. She loves doing this stuff. She goes, aren't these lovely? And Heather goes, she goes, basically, stop making fun of me. I'm tired of this. And I'll be honest, I've done this with people before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like this type of stuff. I just say, enough. I don't like it. You're not doing that anymore.
It's not funny, bitch.
Yeah. And I was so happy. I could have used 10 minutes of that because I've talked about this before. I am so pissed at Emily for constantly making Heather her target. It is so annoying and weird of Emily. I'll say that forever.
Yeah.
Emily, I hope you watch this. It's so annoying and frustrating to see you pick apart Heather for no reason. So I love that. But then unfortunately, Gina starts having to barf up oysters.
I know. She has like sauce all over her face. It's really gross. I was like, damn.
And she goes, if I barfed on an oyster and then slurped up another oyster and died on that oyster while listening to Heather chastise Emily, that would be the worst death, she says, on Bourbon Street.
That would be embarrassing. And then this is where Gina confirms that she called the so-called unnamed reputable journalist who confirmed the news that they had heard. And Katie's like, I swear to God, I didn't say it to Kiki.
Yeah. You know those reputable journalists that when a third party who has nothing to do with it calls, you confirm what the accusation was, this scurrilous rumor, and also tell them who was involved in it and point fingers at another person? That's very credible. What a reputable journalist who's operating behind the scenes.
Well, they never called me to confirm. And they're like, yeah, because they were never going to run the story because it's not true. And it's like, what?
Hello, I'm a journalist. Yeah. Roofie story. Yeah. They heard it in Maestro's. Yeah, Katie Janelli definitely told Kiki. Anyway, I got to go now. It's like, holy shit. What kind of journalism school did that person graduate from?
Yeah. And this is where they're like, call Kiki. And she's like, no.
She goes, Yeah, she really, it's like,
Yeah.
it is funny because they've done this maybe, I think, twice now. Just like, just call them, say what happened. And Katie is just getting busted left and right. She went on a tear. She went on a fucking tear after season 1 and started sitting down with any blogger who would listen. And she's facing all the repercussions of that.
Totally. So yeah, the rest of the dinner is everything we already talked about, where they're going back and forth about the hospital shit and like blah, blah, blah. Then Tamra goes to therapy. She says she's been very anxious lately. She said Eddie had to physically restrain her. I don't know what she was doing, like kicking and screaming, but he was like, enough.
I think she came off the plane and she was just like jumping up and down, screaming and running around. And yes, just running in circles. And Eddie had to say, basically pin her in one of the airplane seats. Say, Tamra, stop. I think you're on half a Xanny and you still have 2 drinks in your system. But she goes, she goes, they don't know what I was reeling from, Teddy. And then also, guess what? None of those pieces of shit called me once. And it's like, well, we know that there was some calling and texting and no one knows what the fuck you were doing. And also Heather has proof that she called you. So you're lying to your therapist. The sanctuary where all things and truths can be told. She's lying that Heather didn't check in on her.
Yes.
So I was like, I am not, I have sympathy for the grief, but
sure,
you're not walking out of this Xanny-induced frenzy that you created, and you're not justifying you quitting the show, and you're already back on the show. The only thing to blame was your drunken, Xanned out behavior. There's no bigger, deeper message for this, in my opinion.
Did you see she posted something about how like no one had any empathy for what she was going through at the time or whatever, and then Gretchen did like a response where she was like, no one knows what I was going through, and then Gretchen's like, actually, I have been there. Remember when my fiance died and you were horrible, and then Slade's son died of cancer and you were like evil about it and like did this whole rant about it? And I'm like, damn, I forgot that like they're really just always going to be like head to head like against each other. Like I don't think there's any saving that feud.
I don't think so. I really don't think so either. I mean, the stuff that Tamra has done to Gretchen, and then Tamra has some evidence against Gretchen. I mean, to be fully frank, if you don't mind, if Tamra does find out that Gretchen has been saying all over town at Javier's, Mozambique, The Quiet Woman, Maestro's, that one Mexican restaurant that had all those flowers, if she's been saying that I felt roofied and I suspected that Ryan or Tamra roofied me after Naked Wasted and she didn't actually go to the hospital, well, Tamra just got the biggest alley-oop in Bravo history.
Yeah.
She's going to run with that forever. 10 years, I would talk about that. It'd be like, you've been telling people that I roofied you when, well, I mean, but then also Tamra's hands aren't clean completely because she was sicking Ryan on her. So maybe she doesn't want to indulge in Naked Wasted at all.
Yeah. Maybe someone should interrogate Ryan and see if he had any of that Spanish fly.
Oh my God! I don't want to know.
Just kidding.
Well, allegedly. Wow! I almost said non-allegedly. No. I don't want to say that.
The comedy clause, the parody law.
Ha ha! Wait, hold on. Let me do a fake laugh. Or not fake, but ha 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 ha. Good one, Amy. Ryan, here's what I'll really say. I do not think what Ryan did was abhorrent enough. I'm not putting the accusation of that on him. He knows what he did. He watches that and he should be like, as a 22-year-old, I committed a mortal sin. Yeah. It's awful, despicable, and you don't need any extra layer to make that even worse. So, but I'm just saying Tamra will not want to wade into Naked Wasted any more than this, even if she does find out this is going to be true, because she has a bad shit happened on her watch during that time. Okay.
Yes.
Heather and Tamra lunch. The hottest waiter in life. Comes up to them and gives them this big tiramisu, and Heather questions Tamra of what the hell she did post quitting the show.
Yes.
She says, you didn't reach out to me at all. I texted you a bunch of times, and then you did a podcast run to end all podcast runs, telling everyone in the world your decision to quit, and you didn't use me as a friend who's defended you. Tamra tries to throw this back on Heather and like gets indignant and becomes a victim again, and then Heather kind of softens the blow, and they get to a good place at the end of this tiramisu lunch, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, Heather's like, I do not accept that you said that I didn't try to help you because I really tried. And she's like, okay, fine. And they show like the texts.
I did love them like kind of bonding over how hot that waiter was. It was like, what's better, this tiramisu or having the hottest waiter in Orange County serve us? And then they say, he is so hot. And Heather is like, acknowledges how hot this person is. Okay, these final two scenes are in tandem, and it's all about what we have talked about. So I think we can, like I just said, not a fine-tooth comb, whatever the opposite is. Katie and Matt are having a little martini night after that little boy goes to bed. And then Gretchen, Emily, and Jen are going to the Dire Wolf Cafe. No.
Goat Hill Tavern.
Goat Hill Tavern. And it's bouncing between these two scenes of them kind of unearthing, excavating this Kiki Monique story. And I got to say, Katie and Matt are kind of acting their asses off in a way where it's kind of jarring how they're trying to position the audience to get them on their side over these allegations. Katie does say one funny thing at the start of her scene. She goes, Matt should make his famous Matt-tini for our Matt-tini night. And then she looks at her son. And she goes, her little son, I think he's 10. And she goes, remember how much Tamra liked Matt's Matt-tini? And the boy goes, ha ha ha. It's like, Katie, please stop. Please stop involving your children in what's going on with the cast members. You're expecting your son to know that Tamra got really drunk as hell at your house. That's
now,
the same thing.
His nanny's going to be like, he said that like, Mommy's friend Tamra's a drunk.
Yeah, it was really the exact same handling of information to her children that she did in last season when she was telling her daughter drama about Heather to get her daughter to hate Heather. I was just like, why are you reminding your son about your dad's famous Matt-tini like that? Anyway, this is just a small note, but I just thought that was odd.
Yeah, so this is where they reiterate what they heard, and they say the new piece of information is that Slade called Matt to tell him to pretend Gretchen never said anything about the roofie or the hospital.
X-nay on the hospital hay. Yeah, on the roof.
Oufray?
Yeah, X-nay on the Oufray. He goes, hold the line. He goes, Matt, do your honor me and Gretchen and hold the line on this thing. You can't, and that's to me damage control. I get the sense of Slade being a little, he's such a little stinker behind the scenes. He goes, hold the line, Matt. What happens at Maestro's stays at Maestro's. We said hospital, but was it really a hospital? She could have called her doctor on the phone and had a telehealth appointment. Like, you don't know. Hold the line on this thing. And then that's now Matt and Katie are like the cat that got the canary. I'll just say it. And they think that this is exonerating evidence to be like, no. Everyone knows that they said this. So why is the blame on us? And then it's like, well, no one of you is bringing up the fact that someone told Kiki Monique this story. That's about 50% of this story. Why is that not being talked about in this scene?
Totally. So yeah. And then I'm confused about.
You got a little, I just want to say, we don't have to cut it out, but you got a little bit of some rumbling going on. I'll just say, just a little tough, but let's keep going. Let's pretend
my final thought, because we have to wrap up. Katie, there's something about Katie asked Kiki to squash this on camera, but she hadn't heard from Kiki yet. So I guess that's what we're going to get next week.
Yes, they go Kiki. They go talk to the person that Gretchen goes, am I naive about Katie? Now Gretchen is turning on Katie because now she knows that she's admitting that this allegation was said while she was drunk at Maestro's. So now she's all about why Katie can't do anything. Why can't Katie talk to Kiki about it now that she has shifted the blame from herself now to Katie? Tamra has gotten away with this one for sure. She could have
wiggled out. She
threw the grenade and it did blow up. And now Gretchen is like, I'm going to pin this on Katie because why would you sell a private conversation to Kiki Monique that we had at Maestro's? And then that's why Katie is going to lob her grenade and try to run away to either Jen. She was kind of, Katie just wanted to throw her grenade at anyone. She was like, Jen was there. Ryan was there. Slade was there. I don't care who gets blown up by this grenade. She was deflecting completely to anyone. But then at the Goat Hill Tavern, Emily is kind of like an old pro. Not old. She's not old at all. She's just a pro, is what I meant. And she's like, you got to get to the bottom of this thing. And Gina said earlier, the truth will come out. It's basically a warning from OC legends to Katie saying, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Andy Cohen's going to get to the bottom of this. Bloggers are going to get to the bottom of this. Turtle Time will get to the bottom of this probably. So you need to come clean. And that's why Kiki is sitting down to tell the truth.
Yeah, and next week is already that lie detector from the trailer for, I guess, Emily's doing Persian New Year, and that will include a lie detector. I don't know why she combined those two things, but...
It's because I think she says in Persian New Year, you're supposed to not lie for the full day.
Okay. And it's like new beginnings. And then they edit it dramatically and have Katie barfing.
Iconic. I mean, we've talked about this. This is basically the scene from The Act of Killing by Joshua Oppenheimer when he gets that one guy who killed a bunch of people to talk about his killing. And then he starts going, excuse me 1 second, I've got to barf. And then,
I talked to Kiki Monique.
Yeah. I got to say for lie detector people, barfing before has to be a huge cue when they're getting those things on their fingers. Belching or barfing.
I killed them all, of course.
I killed them all. Robert Durst famously took a big barf right before he had to get his lie detector test. So I'm just saying, like, they probably say on the questions before even question 1, did the applicant barf before getting hooked up?
Yes.
And then that's a bad sign. That kind of sours the rest of the questions in a way. Anyway, those are my thoughts on lie detector tests. You and I have to say goodbye. I think that Miami, I hope that this was plentiful and bountiful enough that you don't even need Miami, right?
Yeah, I think, it'll be the Spain, and then there's maybe even one more Spain, so maybe those will be like a twofer wrapping out Spain next week. But yeah, so, you got all that Kiki Monique shit. We kept you fed.
Oh, did we feed you? Turtle Time listeners, did we feed you today? Just let us know. Say, I'm full as hell. I'm still a little hungry. Anyway, but no, Miami will come. Either it'll be McBee Dynasty if McBee sucks, or it'll come out with the other Miami. We'll figure out how to handle it. Trust us. Please review us, rate us, subscribe, do all that kind of shit that you can do for a podcast if you loved us talking about OC. Please go to Patreon, pay a certain amount of money, and just subscribe there, and you get access to our entire archive of Vanderpump Rules episodes. Anything else you want to say, Amy, before we shove off?
Browse our Etsy, and I swear we're going to work on some new pre-BravoCon, Road to BravoCon merch soon, so keep an eye out for that. And but other than that, rate, review, Patreon. Love you.
I went to BravoCon 2025, and all I got was this lousy shirt from Turtle Time.
Yeah, I barfed at BravoCon 2025.
Oh my God. 2 huge ideas for Etsy merchandise. Let us know what you like. Let us know if you were fed this episode. Let us know if you like those 2 ideas, and let us know if we completed the Turtle Time mission, which I'm not even going to state.
Yes, you should know by now.
Goodbye.
Bye.